Alright, so today I'm going to show you how to make overlapping scales. And what I mean by that is you can see how they kind of come out and overlap one another. You see this a lot with like lizards and dinosaurs and stuff. And it's a nice touch to add to, the arms and the legs, the feet, the hands. And you can also use it for wrinkles and stuff like that if you want a fold of skin to hang over or something like that. So I've got the arms pretty much done here, and now I'm going to work on the rest. I did the top of the leg here, and I got to do the um, bottom of the foot and the toes. So let's work on that. I'm just going to hide anything that I don't need. Alright, so what we want to do actually might be beneficial to hide this as well, since I already did that piece. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, so I think that'll work better. Alright, so what we want to do is get our Move tool, so Move Topological BMT, and on for mask, you want to just make sure that you're on mask pen, and let's make our draw size smaller. And all I'm gonna do, oh, actually, one thing I'm noticing before I get started is that some of these, I actually went around and finished with the damn standard tool, finished all the edges on these scales, but it doesn't look like I got the ones over here. So real quick, I'm just going to undo that and get my damn standard tool and show you guys. This is pretty simple, probably something that you would already understand or get how to do, but I want to finish it before I do that, so I'm going to do it real quick. All I'm doing is like just little tiny kind of hash lines around where the alpha got stretched and didn't you know, finish imprinting into the mesh. And it does your lines really don't need to be anything sturdy or special here, because if you look at the rest of the scales, it's kind of choppy looking anyway. So I'm just kind of doing like little choppy lines, and it's going to change a bit anyway once we do the masking and the overlapping. You can see I actually already did one on the foot right there, so that's what they're all going to look like. So all right, with that done, um, let's switch back to the Move tool, and let's do that masking. So I'm just going to mask this first one here, just something like that. So you basically mask the piece of geometry that you want to overlap, and then control click outside so that inverts it, and then you can clean up the mask a little bit. Like I think this might be coming too far into the other scale, and you can take away the mask with control alt. So just make sure your mask is what you want it to be. I'm going to actually come in here a little bit like that, because I don't want it to interfere with this part that's being hidden. Okay, so once that's done, we're already in our Move tool, so all we need to do is just make our draw size a lot bigger, and we can just pull this scale up. So now what's basically allowing us to do is just manipulate just this part and nothing else. So once you pull it up, then you can pull it out, and then take a look at it from the side view. And we are getting something in here. So let me actually step back because I don't want that to be affected. So what I'm going to do for that is just mask this part out. Sometimes this can be a pain in the butt if it's in just like a certain area like that, where like this one happens to be in a in like where his leg is creasing, so it's making it a little bit harder. That looks better though. Oh, you know what happened? It's probably because I unmasked that from behind the first time. Okay, so let's work on this now. So what we're going to do, pull that up again. And once it's been pulled up, you can pull it out. Looks like I'm still having a little bit of issue there, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to leave it and go to the next one. It's also in a very small spot that you're never going to notice. So once we have that one done, we're going to make our draw size kind of small again, and we're just going to go to the next scale here. Do the same thing, just control click on the outside of the mesh to invert. Just want to make sure none of this scale is being affected, and then we're just going to do the same thing again. So this one's kind of in a weird angle because the leg is actually kind of facing up because of the way I'm going to have to pose this thing. That's why I built it that way. But normally your arm wouldn't or leg wouldn't be in such an awkward angle. It might be a little bit easier for you to work with. You can lower your draw size a little bit to affect it more precisely, like if you want to change just parts of the shape a little bit. Maybe a little bit bigger and change that. There you go. That looks pretty good. So let's control drag outside to undo that, and let's make our draw size small again. Probably a little bit bigger than that. Again, control click outside, control alt, control alt removes, control adds. I'm just going to run the control mask over the edge just to make sure I'm not affecting any of that, and just repeat the process again. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. It's kind of in an odd angle for moving it up, but it works. All right, so let's zoom out and take a look. So you can see the difference between the three that I did and the three that I haven't done yet, or the two here that I haven't done, and these on the toes. They just don't look as custom. They don't look as good. So it takes a little bit of time, but I definitely recommend doing this for like a dinosaur or like some kind of reptile creature. I think it looks pretty unique. It almost looks like you've got like some subtools, some separate subtools on it, but it's actually all part of the same mesh, so it's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do now is instead of having this video going the entire time, I'm going to pause real quick. I'm going to finish the foot, And then when I come back, I'll show you just how to add like a couple little more details on top of it. So actually, let me unhide the rest of the mesh. And see, that's what I meant by the angle's all weird on this one. So he's actually going to be like wrapped around a tree here, and the front of his body's kind of like hanging off. So since his legs are going to be digging into like tree bark, I thought it was easier to kind of model it already in that pose a little bit. That's why his legs are up like that. And that's what was making the angle a little bit awkward. But when you have your arms in a more normal spot like that, working on it's not going to be um, as challenging from the angles. Uh, but what I wanted to show you was that I'll show you how to kind of come in and just finalize it, add like a couple more finalizing details when we get back here. So let me pause this real quick, and I'll see you in a little bit. All right, so I finished the front part of his leg here. You can see they're all kind of overlapping now, and I wanted to unpause real quick before I got started on these littler ones, just to show you that as well. It's basically the same process, but since they're a little bit smaller and there's more of them, you can kind of do multiple ones at the same time. So let's just mask like these first three. And same exact process as before. Oh, didn't mean to soften that like that. All right, let's bring our draw size up and raise these up a bit. And then what I'm going to do is lower my draw size a little bit so I'm not affecting all three of them, and just kind of pull these out. So let's take a look at it from the side. All right, that looks pretty good. So under your mask, you can zoom out and take a look. Those three already look like miles better than the others. So I'm going to pause again, and when I'm done with this, I'll show you just, like I said, a couple ways to just finalize it. All right, so excuse me, the foot is done now. I've done every scale, um, and you can see it looks a lot better than it did before. So it adds a lot of dimension, a lot of detail. I like to look at these in this Sketch 04 so you can really see the detail. But yeah, really adds a lot. So I definitely recommend taking the time to do that. I actually got up and did like a little bit of cleaning in between because I started to get a little antsy. So you could have a book with you or something, and do like a bunch of them, then take a little break, do a couple more, take another break. I didn't do these last three. I'm gonna do those real quick. Um, and then I'm going to show you just a few other little details. But yeah, if you get the general gist and feel like you want to move on, feel free. I think that looks cool with the last scale kind of hanging over the nail there. Alright, so let's clear that mask, take a look at it. I think that's looking pretty cool. And I'm just going to add a few final details. So one thing, let me see, I'm going to unhide all the mesh here. One thing I did on this one was I just added a bit more of a um, texture using a alpha. I think I'll do that. So let's just switch to our standard brush and bring in an alpha. I've been kind of using this one a lot on this creature. And I'm going to do a real low intensity because I don't want this to like be overpowering at all like some of the other scales. I just want it just as like a let's put it on drag rect. I just want it as like a little bit of extra detail because some of them look a little bit plain. I'm going to bring that intensity up a little bit more. Maybe a little bit less than that. That actually looks a little intense. Let's do a 10. There you go. That looks nice. Just adding like a nice little bump. I kind of might do. Let's see. I want to see what I did on the hand there as I got to the fingers. Yeah, I kind of like made them a little smaller, so I think I'll do that. Same thing. Um, kind of do a separate drag out on each set here. We want to lower this even a little bit more. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right. So once we've done that, when I did these nails here, uh, I did lose some detail that I had in one of the other alphas, so I'm gonna just import another one. I think it was this one here, and I'm gonna quick fix that. I'm gonna mask over these ones just so I don't mess them up at all because I have to give it a little bit more intensity. Um, so let's make the intensity on this one like a 15 or so. And that's just going to kind of give us that skin texture back around the toes here that we lost. And I basically did the, I don't know if you watched the video where I did this, but it was basically the same method with the masking and then like pulling with the move tool to get that look around the toes with the skin. And like I said earlier, you can use that same method on a variety of different things. Like if you have like a big fold of some big folds of skin, like even on the knee here, like if you wanted some of these flaps of skin to be extra baggy, you could kind of mask and uh, manipulate that way. Okay, so I think that's looking pretty good. The last thing that I would do is some of them have like a cool bit of detail from the actual alpha itself left over, like these lines, but some of them are just kind of missing once we do all this extra work. So I kind of like to just come back in here and just kind of sculpt around, add a little bit of texture in there, just do like some little hashes and some lines and stuff. So that was one of the things that I kind of was talking about when I was talking about doing some final detail. is any of these scales that look a little bit plain. It's just kind of coming in here and just finishing them out, making them look a little bit better so that they don't have that plain kind of look to them. And yeah, that's it. That's the gist there. So I'm gonna stop this video here. Hopefully that gives you some good insight on how to do overlapping scales on dinosaurs and creatures and lizards and that kind of thing. If you guys like these videos, give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me a comment, let me know that it helped and that you like it so that I know that you want me to keep making more of these types of videos. Have a good day, guys.